Let's say you're at the supermarket and you want to check how fresh a rose is. What do you do and how do you go about it? Today I have a little stand-in model here. It's from my Eden rose. I kindly and politely asked her to share a flower with me. I didn't really get an answer, but it's the thought that counts. But if you want to check how fresh a rose is, what you really want to do is there's two methods. The first one is to go right here where you can see this little bud attaches. And at this stem point right here, as you can see right here, you want to feel how firm it is. If it's really firm, very hard, almost like wood, then it's a really fresh rose and a really new cut rose. But if it's kind of sloppy, kind of how to say it, very soft, very mushy, then it's not very fresh. Another way you can test it is by pulling on the lower petals. You see roses, when they go bad or they spoil or old if you want, they always do so from the lowest petals, these petals right here. And by pulling on these and attempting to see how loose they are, you can judge if a rose is about to go bad. So if I was pulling this and it went off easy and wasn't attached, then I know it wouldn't take long before that petal and that petal and that petal was the next in line. So roses always go bad from these petals right here, and they go mushy from the stem back here. So those two are the first signs. Now, a lot of people will also ask if all these things you can add to the water actually helps. And my answer to that is cutting, like these angular cuts down here, as you can see. If I can get it to focus on it, those actually help. The angular cuts help, but the things you add to the water, it helps a little bit. And changing the water helps a lot because if you don't change it every 3 to 4 days, it can kind of rot. But the things you add to the water, there's often some sugar and some vinegar and stuff in that. My experience with that is it'll make your roast last maybe half a day longer. So it's not really always worth the effort, in my opinion. And you have to remember, my family had a florist shop, and the reason florists don't really use it as much. They always give it out to the customers, but they don't really use it themselves. And that's really because it doesn't aid a lot, to be honest. And but I will tell you something that really works. You see, in florist shop, what often ends up happening is you're spending thousands, like $3,000 to $4,000 per month easily in electricity. And why are you spending all that money in electricity? It is because you need to cool things. And why do you need to cool things? Because cooling things and cooling flower heads is the most efficient way to make them last longer. Quite literally, if you place something like this in 30 degrees, it will probably go bad in 4 to 5 days. But if you place it at 10 or 15 degrees, it could probably last like 3 weeks, maybe on at least 14 days. So you see, temperature is the largest difference between how long a flower is going to last. The colder you place it, the longer the flower head will last. Of course, it only at I think like 5C. If you go under 5C, you'll probably shug it in a different way. But for most people, at least, the colder you can place it, the better. Because most people tend to place flowers a lot in the living room where we can see them. And that's also really good if you're in the living room. But at nighttime, when you're sleeping, consider placing the flower in a colder room. Maybe your kitchen is colder. Maybe you have some place in the house that's much colder. And by doing that, you'll make your rose or any flower for that matter last a lot longer. So I hope you found these tips useful for cut flowers. You can really do the stuff here, like I told you, like behind the head here. You can actually use that trick on a lot of flowers. The lower petal here you can use on some flowers, but these tricks are for sure good for roses. And as I said before, don't worry about the little satchels or the little bags you get to put in the water. Like they often contain some sugar and some vinegar and some other stuff. But really, the most important thing is to change the water every 4 days and maybe make a new cut when you change the water. And really, just try to keep it as cold as possible. So. And that's really it, guys. That's how you get the most out of your roses and also check if they're fresh. And I hope you enjoyed the video and feel free to subscribe if you have more questions. And for now, I'll just let you get a glimpse here of the wonderful Eden rose. Like Eden rose is such a healthy, underrated rose, and I think she's about to get ready to make a review for you guys soon, but she's still a bit in her early days. Like she's still probably a week, maybe two away from putting on her full bloom display, and she's really covered. I think she has like 50 blooms right now, but many of them are just about to get there. So I want to catch her in full bloom. But as you can see here, she has that little green effect and that little white effect here, and the more pinkish tones. But we'll do a full review of her soon. So yeah, guys, remember the lower petal and behind the flower bud. That's how you check the freshness of a rose when you're at the store or wherever you get or buy your rose bouquets. That's it for now. Thank you for watching.